are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports One. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally stoked and excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Sport. And once again, it is the Barnes and Tony show. What a show. What a life. Renee from the couch. How are you doing on this rainy Thursday, sir?
I'm doing well. You know, rain actually bodes well for my allergies, so I'm pretty pumped about it. Because I woke up, honestly, kind of struggling yesterday. Oh, dude, it was just a terrible time, but I feel good now. Big Ranger day, dude. I need this Ranger win, Brian. I don't know if you know, but I need it, dude.
I think we all need it. That's for sure. Of course, NFL draft tonight, Yankees, Mets back in action. A lot to talk about. But at first, I just wanted to start by giving everybody an update on the Mexico Open at Vidanta. You and Michael had your excellent breakdown after I signed off yesterday. And you going with Michael Kim, Michael going with Tony Finau. Now, was that a planned thing? I'll take Michael, you take Tony.
That was not. It was. Well, I mean, you could also kind of assume Michael was taking Tony.
Yeah. I mean, no Ricky Fowler in the field.
Correct.
And then, I went with Ram, and he's on the course right now, 1 over through 2. So very early on here, I want to say the most holes people have played is 4. Or 5, excuse me. But right now in first place alone is Steven Jaeger, 3 under par here.
Jaegermeister.
SH Kim, not Michael Kim, 2 under par, 1 shot back. Host of golfers at 1 under par. So very early on here. And one thing I forgot to mention yesterday that I didn't actually realize is that Michael Kim is even through 4, but John Rahm won this tournament last year, so he is the defending champ.
Really?
And we've seen him get off to some slow starts. I want to say, he double bogeyed one at the Masters. I mean, so just him 1 over through 2 doesn't really mean anything,
right?
Just like I said, too early.
Yeah, I feel like you had a lot of confidence in him because I feel like actually the past 2 tournaments, I feel like you've picked the defending champion to win. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you're big on, it's so hard to win the same tournament twice, 2 years in a row, like never really happens. And now here you are.
Here we are. But this field, and I know stuff still happens. And what's the most likely thing? Something in between where Rahm's a top 5, a top 10.
Right.
Somebody like Steven Jaeger ends up winning the whole thing.
Jaeger, dude, like J-A-G.
It's spelled literally like Jaegermeister. Yeah.
That's crazy. No relation.
No. What's so funny? I didn't mention this to you today, and we really didn't actually address
Baltimore.
This. No, your get up today.
Oh.
When I saw you wearing that, I thought you were doing like something with the James Bond, whether it was like a movie review or the video game.
Love James Bond.
Tell me though that wouldn't be good for it.
No, it would be great, dude. Shake it, not stir it. Let's go, baby.
I mean, is there any Bond you still need to cover? You're kind of caught up in terms of reviewing it on Screen Time.
Yeah, I mean, kind of caught up here. I mean, unless they announce
who
their new James Bond's going to be.
Oh, because there are going to be new movies, but we don't know who Bond is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're still in the process.
And I know we talked about this a while ago on Screen Time, but still no chance. Craig, dusts off the suit.
Doubtful.
Really?
Did you see the most recent James Bond?
No, I didn't. No Time to Die, right?
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on?
I mean, I love it. I think he was like one of the best James Bond ever. I want to say, and especially with the given time and the way movies have developed, I think he did a great job going into the role and just giving James Bond a whole new, not persona, but just showing a different side of what James Bond could look like. And in my opinion too, Casino Royale was dope, dude. And it's funny because
that's best one by far.
That's the first book.
Like
Casino Royale is the first James Bond. That's why in the beginning he's getting promoted. He is becoming James Bond.
Wait, so they did it out of sequence?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, I did see. That's those finer details. That's what everyone on Screen Time.
Yeah,
Tony, dude. Manny, Jay, Michael. That's the extra ingredient that not everybody has.
Yeah, dude. But I'm still pumped for whoever they picked. Dude, a couple comments here from Prefer. Welcome back, Barnes. He says, "I miss you, buddy." How do you feel about that, Barnes? Do you think it's a backhanded?
Do you think it's genuine? Honestly,
honestly, yeah, I do. I think deep down, Prefer really does have a good time.
Why is he here
watching
every
the
time
show?
if he's not,
commenting, interacting with us because we have a great time interacting with him. So,
yeah.
I do think he did actually miss you. And then you have MIB Tony, Men in Black.
Okay.
Here come the Men in Black. Oh, if Michael was here.
Could do it.
And then Prefer spoils the ending of the movie here. I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about it, but you may just want to watch it on your own, Brian. Don't look, dude.
So basically, Craig gets taken out.
Yeah, he says it right here. Bond dies at the end, dude.
Well,
National travesty.
So then they could do another movie with Daniel Craig, and they could do it before Casino Royale. How about that?
Oh yeah, 006, dude.
Mm-hmm.
They could.
No,
an origin story.
But like I said, a lot to talk about. We'll give you guys another Vidanta update before the end of the show. But it's draft day. Let's go to the world of the National Football League.
6 for 101, 2 touchdowns. To Evans, touchdown, Tampa Bay. How about that throw? Sam Darnold blasted. Oh my goodness, did he take a hit? In trouble, Watts brings him down. Lost one for Odell Beckham Jr. Got it down, touchdown.
All right. 2023 NFL draft tonight, ESPN. I want to say it's on at 8 o'clock. I'll have to double check that. But, we did have that trade with the Carolina Panthers, and the Chicago Bears, DJ Moore going to Chicago and the Panthers getting the number 1 overall draft selection. And we've seen them have a little potpourri the last couple of years. Cam Newton, Sam Darnold, 8 o'clock. Okay, so I knew. Just seems like a standard time for the draft.
Are you tuning in? Honestly.
Oh yeah, I do. I do always follow along. But I'm going to be at Sam's tonight, so probably more of a just check your phone, see who's getting picked where. But I do honestly thoroughly enjoy draft coverage. I think it's the best.
Kansas City this year, right?
Kansas City. Yep.
I don't know. I feel like the last year's draft was kind of weak, dude.
In Vegas?
Yeah. Chris Angel. Come on, you remember Chris Angel had the fucking thing up in the rafters. They pull it down. He's like, "I'm gonna guess the first overall pick or whatever, dude."
Oh, okay.
So weak sauce, dude. The whole broadcast, everything was weak. It was half outside, half inside. With dude, weak.
It definitely it is exciting though, just because once your team drafts, whoever their selections are, you just kind of forecast, okay, where are they going to fit in? Are they going to be a starter? What's kind of like their long-term, outlook. Obviously it's a little different this year for the Jets. They do have a first-round pick, but they moved back 2 spots at 15 and lost their second-round pick in the Rodgers trade, and I believe traded their 6th-rounder for a 5th-rounder as part of that deal as well. So there will be some, players that are expected to make an impact for them, in this draft. So it's exciting. I mean, we saw what a good job they did last year, multiple starters, and they had 3 first-round picks. Seemed like the steal of the draft and Bryce Hall in the 2nd round, unfortunately, had that season-ending knee injury, but, they're fully expecting him to bounce back, and return to form and be an all-pro type running back, because that's what we saw, very, very early on. We'll have to see. So, there's a lot of stuff floating out there. We'll start at the top. The Panthers, we know they're going for a quarterback. Like I said, they've taken all different types of QBs, starters, and it just hasn't worked out. It's been a revolving door at quarterback for the Panthers. And ironically enough, Frank Reich, who is the new head coach there, was the first quarterback in Carolina Panthers history to start a game. For that franchise. So now he's the head coach. And, I know, it didn't end well, in Indianapolis, but he's always been widely respected, We saw the difference in play in Carson Wentz when he was in his corner, when he wasn't. Definitely known as a quarterback guru, and all those years in Buffalo was the backup for Hall of Fame quarterback Jim Kelly. So a guy who knows, what he's talking about here. So it's just the biggest question, it seems like, is, and for a while it seemed like quarterback CJ Stroud from Ohio State would be the consensus number 1 overall pick. Some test score that he took, I guess, didn't bode well. So this draft that I'm looking at now has him going all the way down to 8. And Bryce Young, who for most of the year was thought of as a number 1 pick, is now back projected at number 1. But you do have other options. I saw some smoke come out yesterday about Will Levis, the quarterback from Kentucky. They love the arm, but production wise, you look at the stats, hasn't exactly been there. And I know everything's different. You can't just go by a school saying this school produces great quarterbacks, this school doesn't. But it is true that not much has come from Kentucky. So I'm not sure about that. And then the big wild card, the exciting player, is Anthony Richardson from Florida. Can run, has a cannon, a lot of upside, but has to be really polished. And it's one of those things that can go either way. We've seen project quarterbacks taken in the first round, and it just went, a variety of ways, and it's so far along, ago. But even like thinking about when Vince Young came into the league, we knew he was electric as a runner. The passing was a question mark, and he didn't end up developing into that. On the flip side of things, you look at Lamar Jackson, and I know obviously the last year or two hasn't gone the best way for him, but he ended up winning an MVP. So that's an example of a guy who going into the NFL wasn't polished as a passer,
right?
But then ended up, developing into one. So, what I'm thinking here, is what we'll do is I want to do the Jets and Giants pick as well as the top 5. So I'm going to need your help, Tony. The soundbite is back. And if we could start at the top with the first pick in the NFL draft. The Carolina Panthers select Anthony Richardson. So I think they are going to go curveball. Like I said, a lot of talk about Levis and Young, but you look at Frank Reich, how innovative he is, and I think it's just going to be tough for him to pass up the size, the speed, the arm strength, the possibilities that he can have with Anthony Richardson. So I think he makes a splash, a surprise, at number 1. And I think that's why there's been so much talk about Bryce Young and Will Levis. Usually that's a diversion. So that's kind of my prediction there at number 1. We'll go to the second overall pick. The Houston Texans select Tyree Wilson, the edge rusher from Texas Tech. There was some thought that, they might go quarterback here, but I just think, with Richardson off the board, the questions about Levis, potentially the size concerns with Bryce Young, that they might go edge here and then potentially, take a guy like Hayden Hooker from Tennessee, who would have been a first-round pick. Tore his ACL, was very dynamic. So I kind of could see them doing that just in an effort to really build this team and have the deepest roster that you can. And you think about, former Houston Texan linebacker and current head coach, first year, D'Amico Ryans. I'm sure he's really going to want to focus on the defense. So I think the edge rusher at 2, makes a lot of sense. And then we will go to the third overall selection. The Arizona Cardinals select Paris Johnson Jr., offensive tackle, Alabama. You just think about how porous that offensive line was last year. Kyler Murray coming back from the ACL injury. And then, Jonathan, I believe it's Bannon, in from the Eagles here, the defensive coordinator, but you need to protect your $200 million quarterback. And I don't think there's a better way to do that than taking Paris Johnson, the offensive tackle out of Alabama. And needless to say, a school that's produced, many quality, draft picks as well as offensive linemen. So that will get us to the 4th overall selection, the Indianapolis Colts with the steal of the draft. A lot of talk about, going with Will Levis, but with Bryce Young still on the board, the Indianapolis Colts select Bryce Young, quarterback, Alabama. I think it just makes too much sense. I know that Shane Steichen, the new head coach there coming over from the Eagles, wants to make a splash. And I just think Bryce Young is a sure bet. And I understand there's size concerns, but we've seen guys have a lot of success at a shorter height. And I just think coming from Alabama, you know how well coached he is, the experience of him playing in the big games. And I think that's why they end up going with Bryce Young there. I think that's a match made in heaven. Jim Irsay finally getting his guy.
Nice.
We know the quarterback carousel that they've had over the last couple of years. And then for the 5th overall selection, the Seattle Seahawks select Will Levis, quarterback, Kentucky. The thing is, Stroud is still on the board here. A lot of smoke about Richardson, which I don't quite understand. I guess there's an out with the Geno Smith contract extension, but I just feel like for them taking a quarterback this high, I mean, it has to be an indictment on Smith, but maybe they're just looking to plan ahead. But you would think Smith would be able to get you through 4 or 5 years. I know the extension was 3. But it's just, there's a lot of smoke about them taking a quarterback. And I think they take the best one available, in Will Levis, and Pete Carroll just hopes to, groom him and take advantage of that big arm. So that's what we got for our top 5 picks. Moving further down the list, the Jets were originally slotted in at that 13th selection, but they are moved back to 15 with the Aaron Rodgers trade. So with the 15th selection, the New York Jets selects Jackson Smith and Jigba. So that's the wide receiver from Ohio State. I think he played in 1 game last year, was coming back from an injury. So a lot of smoke about, an offensive tackle here, which I think would be good. I know there's, positive, things about Mekhi Becton coming back from that injury. It is a wild card, but I do have a good feeling about that. I think, I think with him really taking it seriously, he can be a really good player. Plus, we've seen, with last year's draft and other previous drafts that you don't need to take an offensive lineman in the first one. You just need to take the right offensive lineman. It doesn't matter about the round.
I heard he did really poor in school.
He's a wide receiver. He just needs to catch passes, Tony.
Prefer likes it. So the Jets needed wide receiver for Broadway. Aaron,
which I want to talk about in a second. But before we do that, I just wanted to see here. I'm like blanking on where the Giants was.
25th?
Is it? It is 25th.
23rd, maybe?
Oh, it is 25th. Okay.
Okay.
So with the 25th selection in the 2023 NFL draft, the New York Giants select Jordan Addison, wide receiver, Pittsburgh.
Really?
We know the extreme need for a wide receiver for the Giants. I mean, Darren Waller trade is good, bringing in the former All-Pro tight end, but you need receivers. They clearly don't have any. We know the disaster that Kenny Golladay was, but Jordan Addison, the name at 25. So I think that's a good selection for them. But with any NFL draft, there's going to be a lot of surprises, a lot of question marks. And one thing that there's a lot of smoke on, and it's interesting to see what they do. The Falcons, they had the 8th overall pick. Some talk about maybe them moving back. Maybe the Titans want to move up for a quarterback. CJ Stroud is the guy that they could take. But that the Falcons might want to go with Bijan Robinson. I know, great running back from Texas. But and last year, Cordarrelle Patterson and Tyler Algier did a good job running the ball. My whole thing here, though, is, I just can't think of a time where a running back was drafted very high in the last 10, 15 years, and it really changed the franchise for the better. And it wasn't the thought that, we could have got this guy in the second, this guy in the third. You think about Zeke, sure, early on that worked, but did they ever win a Super Bowl? They ended up just giving him more money than he needed. You look at the scenario that you're in with Saquon Barkley now, and I know he's been a positive player for you, but now you have a situation where he wants to be paid. You don't want to pay them. So already from the jump, because you're taking these guys in the first round, they have a 5th-year option. They have a higher salary, way higher salary than what the 2nd round, the 3rd round, 4th round draft pick would take. So I think it just kind of really sets you up. And I've said this for a long time. In my mind, the only time it really makes sense for a team to take a running back in the first round, like defending Super Bowl champion or conference champion, and just had a terrible running game, dynamic running back there available, you take him, done. But other than that, I don't see it. I don't see, like, you look at how good Breece Hall was for the Jets last year. You didn't need to take him in the first round. I don't know. Even if it's Walter Payton, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's a lot to put on a running back to take him in the first round.
Yeah. No, I totally agree too. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you think a lot of it has to do with maybe some scouts in the NFL realizing, like, hey, like, this guy we could take? First of all, running backs, obviously you can take lower, but even so, like, maybe even developing a running back when he gets to your team, like kind of scouting almost that far ahead, where it's like, hey, like, yeah, this guy isn't great, but we can take him at a really low spot in the draft and we can develop him for a season and he could be a great running back, you know?
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of thought to that. I mean, there's been a lot of undrafted guys that
Eckler.
became Pro Bowls. Yeah, exactly. We know how good Austin Eckler is. And it's interesting. They haven't been able to work, on a contract extension. And I know probably a pipe dream, but hey, I mean, could you imagine if the Jets found a way, get him in the mix with Breece Hall? But the problem is, I think he wants to be paid like a wide receiver, almost like the Le'Veon situation from a couple of years ago.
No, that's tough.
But I think at the end of the day, I mean, we know how important he is for Justin Herbert. I think they'll end up working something out, maybe more money on a short-term level.
Yeah. I noticed you didn't really talk about a lot of offensive linemen, I feel.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at, I could tell you, who they're projecting here. So we got Paris Johnson at 3, which is what I agreed with. So that's 1
for who? Not for Texans.
That was for Cardinals.
Oh, Cardinals.
Darnell Wright at 13 to the Packers. So that's 2. Peter Skonorski from Northwestern. That's 3 to the Patriots. Broderick Jones. That's 4. And let's see what else we got here. Antoine Harrison 5, and Stephen Avila 6. So 6 offensive linemen projected to go in the first round. And it's one of those things that it can go either way. We've seen some really good offensive linemen taken in the first round. You think about Quentin Nelson, that's a name that sticks out. And it was the Jets time where they traded up for Darnold. The Colts used that selection to take Nelson, all pro. We know what Sam Darnold is at this
all
point.
Pro.
But hey, he could be an all pro under Kyle Shanahan. I don't think we can rule it out as the legend Manny Santiago walks through the door.
Wow, dude, he's ready to play some bets.
But I think, it could go either way. And like I said, I just like the Jets going for it receiver. You think about all of Rodgers over the years complaining about the Packers haven't drafted a wide receiver in 30 years in the first round, whatever the case may be. So to just really go above and beyond, I think it's a good idea. And we saw the offensive line, not with a bunch of known guys last year. By the end of the season, they were able to piece it together. And especially if you get anything close to what you expect out of Mekhi Becton, that offensive line is going to be pretty good. So that's kind of my strategy there.
All right. I like it. Good strategy, Brian.
So, that one, 8 o'clock ESPN. And of course, we'll do a little recap tomorrow on the NFL draft. Always one of the best times of the year.
Wow.
But also, we know it's time for baseball. Let's go to the world of Major League Baseball.
What a play! Stop it, Tony. Yep. And Alonso cracks one of the Mets win the ball game. Out of sight.
And it works at 100 miles an hour. 14 strikeout.
Drill deep to left field. There it goes. See ya.
All right. So you ask and you shall receive, Tony. We talked about it yesterday. When I called in, the Yankees just needed to set the tone early. I wanted a double-digit run game, and that's exactly what they did, and it was nice, too. We always talk about how, they're home run or bust. That's how they score all their runs. And this game was a perfect example of you don't need to be. They scored 12 runs in a 12-6 victory over Minnesota, but only hit one home run. So it was a lot of, runners in scoring position, 6 for 11 with runners in scoring position. Anytime you could do that, that's usually means you're going to win the game. So just to kind of give you an idea of how we got there, started in the second inning. Willie Calhoun actually reached on an infield single. Let's not get too excited. The ball's bouncing around. The first baseman mishandled it, whatever. That made it 1-0 Yankees. Volpe, we've seen him really heat up lately. I want to say over the past 2 weeks, his averages in like the 280s. So like he has done at every level, a slow starter, then he really figures things out. So he singles, that scores Willie Calhoun. And then Aaron Judge, we talked about him struggling. I think he was in a 2 for 20 stretch, clears the bases with a double on his birthday. We talked about yesterday was his 31st birthday.
Did you celebrate?
We celebrated with a win here. So that made it 5-0 Yankees. And that really set the tone for the game. Anytime you can get a 5-run lead, after an inning and a half. Miranda for the Twins did answer back to make it 5-1. But fortunately, the Yankees offense gets back to work in the fourth. A Volpe double scores Cabrera and Higashioka to make it 7-1. Rizzo doubles as well to score Volpe and Judge to make it 9-1. I really like the theme here. Judge, Volpe getting on, scoring runs. That's how you have a successful offense. Gleyber Torres hit a 2-run homer after that to make it 11-1. But Domingo Germán, a little bit of trouble here, gives him a home run to Miranda to make it 11-3. Also gives him a home run to Joey Gallo, his second home run of this series. Not as quite as far as the first one, but 380 feet. Made it 11-5. And Germán also gave up an additional run here on a Kepler ground out. They took him out of the game, but the run was charged to him. So he actually gave up 6 earned runs. So that was 11-6. And then LeMahieu hit a sac fly in the 8th to make it 12-6, and we were smooth sailing from that point on. So a nice 12-6 victory, salvaging this final game of this 3-game set in Minnesota. Germán gets the win here, but 6 innings, 5 hits, 6 runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, 3 home runs allowed. So not a great performance out of Germán. But I think the Yankee offense, was due to pick up the pitchers for once. It's been a lot of the pitchers struggling, but then the offense is literally not even giving them a shot. So they do that. 3 scoreless innings out of the bullpen, 2 from Ian Hamilton, who's been a revolution since making the team out of spring training. 2 innings, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. His ERA sits at 1.84. Clay Holmes, we've seen settle down after actually blowing it to the Twins at that game at Yankee Stadium I was at a couple Fridays ago. A nice clean inning, 9 pitches, 7 strikes, 1 strikeout. So the Yankees, like I said, salvaged this game. And then they're back at it today in Texas to give a 4-game set with the Texas Rangers and, a couple former Yankees actually going to be starting against them in this one in Nathan Eovaldi and Andrew Heaney.
Wow.
So those are opportunities that I very much look forward to, as well as the opportunity to face Jacob deGrom. It's a shame that we don't get a Cole deGrom game, but I think he's pitching tomorrow. I'll have to check. But today is actually a Cole Heaney game. So Yankees heavy favorites in this one, -170. Cole has been unbelievable, 4-0, 0.79 ERA.
DeGrom is Friday, by the way.
DeGrom is Friday. Matched up against Brito?
Schmidt.
Oh, but DeGrom hasn't been, he's been
DeGrom,
up and down.
2 innings, hurt, leaves.
Done. Or just 8 runs allowed, either one. Heaney, has had some terrible starts, has had some great starts, but I feel really good about going up against Andrew Heaney. There's no way that he's going to shut us down. That would shock me more than anything. And I think Garrett Cole is going to be jacked up back in the state of Texas. We know about his couple of seasons in Houston. Rangers, have basically the same record as the Yankees here, 14-10, Yankees 14-11. So I've been playing some decent baseball. I know there's some tough outs in that lineup. Obviously, you think about Seager and Simeon, Adolis Garcia, just to name a couple names there. So we might see some runs, but I don't think it's going to be too many runs early. Maybe they could get to our bullpen a little bit. So we'll talk about that in a second, Tony. But before we do that, if you could just give us a synopsis of yesterday's game between the Washington Nationals and New York Mets.
Yes, so the Mets here continue their homestand, kind of sadly here as they fall to the Nationals 4-1. Seeming like the Nationals have been kind of dominating the Mets here in Citi Field. Yesterday, I believe, right, 4-1. Day before that was a 5-0 loss. The batters, the lineup has been absolutely blanked. Haven't really gotten good performances from our starting pitchers or really our bullpen for that matter. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not worried about the bullpen. Let's start off with giving a synopsis of the scoring here. Starting early there for the Nationals, top of the second, Thomas reaches an infield single, and Ruiz ends up scoring on a tough defensive play for Escobar. However, you would expect him to make some type of play here. Thomas here just hits like a soft grounder to third base. Escobar was playing pretty back, almost in the outfield here. But he charges the ball, and by the time he picks up the ball, he just kind of doesn't know what to do. Runner scores, doesn't get any outs in the play. So kind of a poor defensive effort there by Escobar. Again, you think of some of the better third basemen around the league. You think of someone like Brett Beatty, who could be at third base, who definitely has some more pep in his step. But moving on from the second, then you get Abrams RBI single. Dom Smith scores, and again, a former Met here that you're facing here for the Nationals. But Dom Smith, I believe he was at second. And not for nothing, honestly, he might have even been at first at this point. But it's like a soft, single hit to left field. Kana's running onto it. Yes, again, it was pretty shallow. Took him a few steps to get to the ball. But again, he's shallow left field, and he can't really make a hard throw to home plate. So it's I don't know. Kana, we've seen, this isn't the first time this season where Kana's been, tested by making a throw to home plate, and he can't do it. Yeah, it's on the mark, but it's just not fast enough. And you're making a throw from shallow left field. It's you should be able to hit that, especially with Dom Smith being the base runner. Very aggressive base running by him. I'll give him that. But I mean, he's not fast. He's a big dude. He's slow. You should be able to throw him out at home. So kind of ridiculous there. That Smith was able to score on that play. And then, bottom of the third here, you get a nice RBI single by Marte, who had it's a good RBI single for him, but other than the rest of the night, we'll get to the rest of the lineup too. And then you have top of the seventh here, Candelario homered off of Ottavino. Just kind of I think it was a fastball over the middle of the plate. And then Cal had a single to center with Robles scored top of the eighth, and that gave you the 4-1 score. That was your final for the game. And, again, I mentioned the defensive issues in Kana and Escobar. I think in the fifth inning too, I think there was a pop fly in the infield, and it's I think Ottavino was going to catch it, or maybe Brigham was pitching at that point. And Alonso comes in hot, running onto it, and just overruns the ball and drops it. And it's what do we have 3 plays that should be easy outs or relatively routine outs, I should say. And the Mets just weren't really helping Senga. Speaking of Senga, he didn't really have the best outing. 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 7 Ks. There was also, I believe, a play in the third too. Ground ball to Escobar went right between his legs. So again, the defense were not helping your pitchers there at that point. I want to say Senga, 7 Ks, that's up there for him in terms of his outings. 5 innings is something that he's been, pitching consistently, in his outings, which is not enough in my opinion. 4 walks. He had I mentioned him going to his fastball when his forkball wasn't really working. His fastball, he just really couldn't locate it. I think he walked the leadoff batter, at the first inning, and you're thinking never a good feeling when you walk the lead batter of the game, so you kind of felt in the air, it was going to be kind of a tough game, and it was. They ended up getting a double play to end the inning in the first, but so there was some good defense to start, but there was I think there was another double play spot where McNeil and Lindor just weren't quick enough, and they get the guy out at second. They aren't quick enough to get the guy out at first, and it's again, the defense actually prefer, said it nicely here. They did look sluggish. I don't know what it was, if they were just tired, tough road stretch before they faced the Nationals, and maybe they're a little bit bogged down from the loss yesterday. But They just didn't have any urgency here. Defense mistakes, and we don't see that a lot. Normally, Escobar is pretty sound at third base. He made 2 big mistakes yesterday. Again, Alonso made a big mistake in the infield too. I think Khan's gonna get the hell out of left field, if you ask me. Because at this point, I think he proved himself just not having a strong enough arm to be out there in the outfield. And he doesn't really have a good enough bat even to be like, oh, like you can keep him in the lineup. It's a good bat. No, it's just not. There's really nothing good, I feel like, with him. Senga, you're definitely a little worried about at this point. Yes, people are talking about all the adjustments, new country, new league, the pitch clock, different ball, which I understand that. And you're definitely positive and hopeful because it is a big adjustment for him. Give him some time. But if you look, and again, it is, I guess, relatively early still. But I mean, if you look at the teams that he's faced, I mean, like Miami twice, Washington, Oakland, even the Padres too, who's had like a really slow start offensively. They've been pretty dead offensively. And we did well against these teams because our offense was going, which I think kind of masked the fact that Senga does not give you a lot of innings. He has been struggling with location and control. He does walk a lot. So yes, you want to give the man some more time to adjust. But again, like these are teams that are not good, that don't have great lineups, that have a couple good hitters. And when you're walking 4 of them, giving up 5 hits, again, you're getting strikeouts, which is good. But you're throwing 94 pitches by the 5th inning. Before again comes in, saying at too many 3-2 counts. He had 100 pitches by the 5th inning. He's totally right.
Yeah, you're going to blow out your bullpen if you're only giving 5 innings every time. He's walked so many. I mean, he's got to be up there in the league leaders for walks.
Probably.
Yeah.
We'll just look at it right here. Walks. 18 walks so far this season.
Over how many innings?
26. So that is a lot. It's not good at all. And again, it's not great. It's just, the pitching situation in New York for the Mets is not great. With the injuries, the suspensions, the people making adjustments, bringing up new guys who still need to develop. I mean, there's just no time for this right now. There's no time to make. Like Senga has to just step up, grit his teeth. He's playing I suppose like a decent 3-starter, which is where he's at. But we need him to be better. And we need our pitching to be better. We need our bats certainly to be better. I think we struck out 14 times as a team, 15 times as a team yesterday.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
It really was. I mean, I want to give it to
Mackenzie
Gore, honestly, and even Josiah Gray, 2 days ago, too. You'll get Gray's numbers, his outings this season. He's had some good outings, even against teams like the Braves. He like fans 8 of them, last 6 2/3, only 2 earned runs. Like these pitchers have had good outings. Gore looked really good. His fastball, again, he located his fastball. He mixed in his curveball, which is pretty lethal, honestly. It's got significant movement. It's very sharp. So that's why a lot of batters were striking out. But I mean, on the other hand, I mean, it's just the Mets have to just do better. I mean, Nimmo, who, past couple of games has not done well. Of course, he's probably one of your best hitters, but last night he was 0 for 3, struck out twice. Marte was 1 for 4. He had that RBI, but he still struck out twice. So Lindor 0 for 4, Alonso 0 for 4, Kana 0 for 4. And I mean, we talked about the significant drop-off after these batters, after the top end of the lineup. Yeah, you put McNeil over there, kind of in the 6th spot. He went 2 for 3. He drew a walk as well, but then Tommy Pham at the DH spot, 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts, Nito was 0 for 2 last night. You had Vogelback pinch hit for him. He got a walk. Alvarez then, pinched hit for him. One at bat, he was 0 for 1. I mean, it's just nothing great. And before said it, Mets don't score unless they, Mets don't win unless they score more than 5 runs. I mean, unfortunately, like I was saying, that the pitching situation is not ideal. You got a lot of guys doing new things, not used to things. A lot of guys that just aren't, may not be ready for the majors here. So, yeah, I mean, the bats have to compensate for that. I mean, it's the fucking Nationals. You still should be scoring more than 1 run a game. And also, I actually was watching, was it Hunter Harvey, actually, the reliever, 28-year-old for the Nationals, hitting 100 on the gun. His fastball was actually really nice. He was hitting top cheese. Really all day. Struck out Marte foolishly, just way behind his fastball. So, I mean, it seems like the Nationals actually have some good pitchers to work with. But again, I mean, you're the Mets. Coming into this homestand here, it should have been a breath of fresh air to play the Nats. You were expecting the sweep. Now you're just trying to look to win one game. And that does start tonight. Joey Lucchesi on the mound. Big night for Joey Lucchesi. I mean, his last outing, 7 innings of no run baseball here. So you're expecting something like that to really lift the Mets up here. I mean, that's something they don't have. They don't have like a top of the first. It's just a 1, 2, 3 inning with striking out all 3 batters. I mean, that's what I think the Mets need to really jumpstart some energy to avoid the sluggishness. Like how do you think it is when like it's top of the first and Kadai Singh is walking the leadoff batter and then giving up a hit? I mean, it doesn't look good. It's not the energy, that the vibe you want. That's not the way you want to start off your game. So I mean, putting Lucchesi out there, I hope that his stuff will be there. He'll be able to locate his pitches and just work around this Nationals lineup, which is easy to do. And I think for someone like Lucchesi, yeah, there's a lot of pressure on him, but I think he's going to rise up to this occasion, and I think it's going to be, just a dominant performance like we've seen before. Give me 10 runs. I want to see double-digit numbers here for the Mets, dude.
So you're kind of copying me from yesterday.
Absolutely, and I think they're running into a similar issue. You mentioned
same thing. So
I mean, I think it's time. Like, let's go. Like Lucchesi, 7 innings again, no earned runs, fan 10 people, looking dominant. So then our bullpen can rest easy. We've been overworking our bullpen so much, like it's worrisome.
Yeah,
because our guys are good. Like, the bullpen's great. But again, like you put these guys, you overwork the bullpen, you bring them into tough situations, that they end up giving up runs, kills their confidence. It threatens your bullpen down the stretch of the season here. So dial it in, take a deep breath, get back to it, and just fucking dominate the Nats tonight, huh?
And I feel like we did talk about it, but what do you think they're gonna do for Williams?
What do you mean,
Trevor Williams? Like a tribute? Dude, I'm serious though. You think they're
honestly,
gonna mention
I think
something?
it's gonna be they're never gonna mention something. Maybe when he comes out for the first inning, but just like something on the board, no tribute video.
And
I mean,
you
what are you
think
gonna show?
any,
Him
like,
getting,
ovation
giving
or
up
no?
home runs? No.
He did have a good stretch last year though. He really did, honestly. After a terrible one, but
I don't think there's gonna be like a stand. No.
he just wasn't good enough.
And honestly, like I wish I was just going to this game tonight because I think the stadium was at like half capacity last night.
Yeah, I mean, what's up with that? Just because it's the Nationals?
I don't know.
Because they've had some strong attendance. It's been up from last year to start the year.
And I really don't. Maybe just because it's like a Wednesday night, maybe not many people were going. But like Senga's in the mound, like, don't you want to watch him?
But
I
I
would
tell
have killed
you
to go
all
to that
the
game.
time. It's the accessibility to that ballpark.
Yeah,
they would at least 5,000 fans if they were part of Metro North, guaranteed.
No, you're probably right, dude. You're absolutely right. I mean, if there was more convenient to get there, I mean, that's part of the reason why I don't go as much. I don't want to fucking drive there.
Now, do you have blind confidence that Stevie's already working on that?
I think there was talks of it actually last year. But I mean, you're talking about years of construction, like permits from the city. That's something that's going to probably take a while, dude.
I just can't believe there's no Amtrak stop or anything,
Yeah, it's tough, dude.
I will have to see some plans, like a set of plans to kind of see where we can fit the track.
Yeah. Maybe from the Knowlton directly over to Queens. That would be nice.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, all right. So for your first pick, you're gonna go with the Mets here. You are up. I did update our picks from Monday, 25-22. We both only went 1-2. And as I alluded to, of course,
Yanks
gonna go with the New York Yankees, and Garrett Cole has pitched as the best pitcher in baseball this season, and I think he continues that trend tonight. I'm expecting 7 innings, maybe 2 earned, 10 strikeouts, 4 hits, no walks, and getting to 5-0. The Yankee offense, I think it is going to do wonders. Going to Texas, just not being in like a frigid environment like you were in Minnesota, I think you're going to see balls leaving the ballpark. They haven't hit too many home runs recently. And somebody who had a great game yesterday but didn't go yard, Aaron Judge, I honestly think will hit 2 today. I think you could tell after yesterday, confidence is there. He's locked in. Andrew Heaney, we've seen him give up a couple to the Yankees before. So I think that happens. And I want to say the Yankees are going to win this one. Let's go with a 9-4 victory over the Texas Rangers. And I think Anthony Volpe continues his strong play as well. Let's go 3 stolen bases and 3 hits. And looking good in the field. I know he's had some errors recently, but I think he's going to make a couple flashy plays, turn a couple double plays, and put forward a great performance, Tony.
Absolutely love it, dude. I'm gonna go. How many picks we doing?
3. Oh, and just because I just saw this because they're playing, and I think he pitched against them in the opening game. But did you see? Remember, I was telling you, I think it was Monday. Yeah, it was Monday about the Syndergaard $66 waiver claim.
Oh yeah.
Did you see his last game?
No, what was it?
It was 4 innings, 9 hits, 7 earned runs.
Oh, dude,
Got you, buddy. It's over. It's over. I'm thoroughly convinced. I know I hyped him up for a while. Now, but before you do your pick, though, at this juncture, just as kind of like a Hail Mary, would it make sense to give him a shot as a reliever?
I mean, I don't know, man. It sounds like he's giving up runs in the first inning, huh?
I mean, it depends. You saw like against the Mets, though, like that start. I mean, he gave those 2 runs.
Rather have Matt Harvey, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
But I'm saying for the Dodgers, you don't think? I mean, they
gave for the Dodgers. Oh yeah, we might as well try him in the bullpen. Why not?
Yeah. So something interesting to
Right.
keep an eye on. But go ahead. What do you got for number 2 here?
I'm gonna take the Angels tonight. Ohtani pitching. You know, they're in Cali. Well, I mean, they're playing the Oakland. They're at home, playing the A's here. You know about Ohtani. Obviously, just great at the DH spot, great pitcher. I think he's I'm trying to look at his last outing as a pitcher. It's so annoying because they give you like his hitting, and it's just like, when did you last pitch, dude? But nonetheless, I mean, his season stats are pretty solid. You expect that from him, obviously, on both sides of the ball as well. It is funny, actually, looking up stats for him. But I just think against, someone like JP Sears, who we've seen get popped specifically by the Mets. His ERA is ballooning. He's at almost a 5 right now. By the way, Ohtani's ERA is a 0.64. Kind of ridiculous. Over 28 innings pitched. You actually had some good offense too. This is the 4th time I think these two teams are facing each other. Oakland dropped 2 of 3 to them in the last 3 games, right? I think last night was like an 11-3 victory. You had Hunter Renfroe going like 2 for 3. Ohtani went 2 for 4. I think even Anthony Rendon went 2 for 4. So I'd expect those 3 guys to put up a performance looking like that. Again, Ohtani dominant, 7 innings, 11 Ks. Mike Trout did nothing last night. You would imagine his bat gets going. And I'm going to say Gio Urshela gets a nice dinger. He was playing first base last night.
First, second. Right. I mean, he can do it all. Short.
Kind of impressive. And I would say certainly good for the Angels to have a utility player like that as well. So give me the A's here. Another dominant victory. I'm going to say 10-2.
I really hope. I mean, obviously, I know I've said, I want to see Trout back in the playoffs. But yeah, I really hope the Angels fall out of it because I think the Yankees in a heartbeat would take Gio Urshela off their hands.
Yeah, I think so too.
That would be great as a utility guy. So I'm gonna go with the Pirates here.
Wow.
The Dodgers have not performed well. Kind of similar thing to the Yankees and the Mets in terms of the offense. Really just having a tough time going there. And today, they do have Julio Urias going up against Mitch Keller, who has had a good start to his season. And we talked a lot about him last year. And the Pirates, there's just good feels all around that team, 17-8. And I'm just curious to see. I know they're still lagging in the attendance department. I think I looked like their last game, like 11,000 fans win or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wonder as the weather gets warmer and they keep up this performance, I would imagine that place starts filling out one of the more beautiful ballparks in the major leagues here. So they're going for, the series win here, against the Dodgers after sweeping the Reds. And you look at the Dodgers, they lost 8-1 yesterday. And I just think, Keller will be able to keep them at bay. As far as, the Pittsburgh lineup, they've been scoring, a decent amount of runs here. Obviously, we know what Brian Reynolds is doing. 5 homers, 19 RBIs already, slugging 539.
Mm-hmm.
McCutcheon already has 5 homers as well. So I think that leadership role is big for him. But I think it's going to be a similar thing to what we've seen with the Dodgers, that inconsistent offense. I think, this could be a 1-1 game in the sixth, but then I think, maybe a Brian Reynolds 3-run homer in a game that the Pirates end up winning. Let's call it 5-2 over the Dodgers here. Mitch Keller goes to 3-0.
Love it. Great pitcher. My last pick here. I'm going to go with the Padres.
Nice win against the Cubs yesterday. Seth Lugo pitching.
Seth Lugo starting today.
Hater, though. I know. I was watching the last inning yesterday. I watched the last half inning and saw Hader. And it was insane. You know how like he would always throw like a lot of change ups and sliders through all fastballs, through like 25 pitches, but all fastballs. And mostly every pitch was either 96 or 97. So I guess a tick down from Ray. I mean, he was kind of 98, 99. But they were having a tough time. I mean, they couldn't do much with it. They ended up getting a walk in like a single to have a runner on. I think it was a runner on third. No, it was first and second, 2 outs, and then he ended up getting a pop up to end the game.
Jeez.
You look at his numbers this year, though, ERA under 1. So it seems like after a 7 ERA stretch with the Padres last year, that he's kind of refound himself and was going to be a weapon for them.
Who's their other closer they go to? Do you know?
We had to look it up. Jeez, I'm trying to think of who you're talking about.
Josh Hader. I could have sworn there was someone else.
I'm going to pull it up right now, dude.
No, this is
not Nick Martinez.
No.
Luis Garcia?
That's not.
Or are you thinking of Suarez? Robert Suarez?
Maybe Robert Suarez. Yeah, it's just listed as Josh Hader. I could have sworn they were going to some other guy too. I forget his name. I totally forget. It doesn't matter now anyway.
Not Honeywell, right?
No. It wouldn't even, it's over. It's over, dude. It's over. I'm going on my pick here. Seth Lugo on the mound for the Padres here. Padres have actually struggled really hard offensively. Yes, they've had some bright spots here and there, but for what they have, I feel like it's just been, super underwhelming for them. But I think Seth Lugo on the mound here, I think will bode well. He's 2-1 in the season, 2.78 ERA, 22 2/3 innings pitched. I think he has like 24 strikeouts, which is pretty solid for him. Again, someone who has been dying to be a starting pitcher, finally getting the nod here for San Diego. And, obviously we know his stuff. Very solid pitcher, especially when he can locate his pitches. I mean, he mixes them all up. Great pitch selection. Really kind of gets in the minds of some batters too. And, he himself, very clean, like overall, just solid pitcher too to have in your arsenal, in your rotation. And I just think, again, someone like Wisniewski, who we've seen get positively popped here. He had a good outing against Oakland, where he pitched 7 innings of 1 earned run ball. But then look at Seattle, where he did not last. He lasted an inning and a third, giving up 5 earned runs. Cincinnati, 4 2/3, giving up 3 earned runs. LA, 4 1/3, giving up 3 earned runs. I just think the Cubs don't really have the pitching to really, at least the bullpen anyway, the depth in their bullpen to kind of, compensate for Wisniewski not really, lasting 5-6 innings. So yeah, I think even if the Padres are struggling a little bit at the bat, I think they're going to win anyway, honestly. They'll have enough firepower in their bats and enough good pitching from Lugo to squeeze by the Cubs here. They won yesterday 5-3. And, if you look at some of the scoring here, you got a nice RBI triple for Cronenworth, Tatis Jr. with an RBI single, and then another RBI single for him in the 9th. So Tatis Jr. coming up pretty big. And, Bogart's getting on base. Cruz was getting on base a lot too. So it seems like that their bats starting a little bit here. I think you're going to see a lot of it start with Tatis Jr. as well. Hopefully Machado can start something because he really hasn't been doing well. Bogarts, I think, is leading the team in most stats offensively. But give me the Padres here in a 5-1 win.
Love it.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I was actually going to take the Braves, but I'm looking at it, and I just want to do something different here. And I love this matchup. And I believe we had this matchup earlier this year between Shane McClanahan and Dylan Cease. Back at it, guaranteed rate field in Chicago. Cease, and McClanahan, 2 of the best pitchers in the league. Cease 2-0, 2.73. McClanahan 4-0, 1.86. Obviously, we know the Rays' success this year, 20-5 How about the White Sox struggling? 7-18 here.
Yikes.
Pitching has not been good other than Cease, and I think this is the opportunity to win the game. Maybe the bats get going a little bit. We know Tim Anderson's still injured, but coming back soon. But in the meantime, they're going to see what they can put together. But I want to say in a pitcher's duel, both pitchers go 7 scoreless innings. But then the White Sox, a Luis Robert 3-run homer in the bottom of the 8th is the difference here. 3-0 White Sox, third and final pick, Tony.
Love it, dude.
Yeah, that was my third and final pick.
I was like,
That's
wait a
what
minute, I made
meant.
my third yet. You son of a bitch. Couple comments here, Brian, before we move on. Before does say we need a pitching gem from Lucchese tonight. You're absolutely right. He says, happy birthday, Judge. Belated. And then he puts his picks in there for tonight. He has Yankees, Pirates, Braves.
He went with the Yankees. Andrew Heaney, you think that's why?
It has to be, dude.
But what, or do you think because I'm not coming at him as aggressively today, that's why he's going to Yankees?
Yeah, I guess that could be, but I don't know. Maybe he's playing a little reverse psychology.
Yeah. He's but it to himself right now. He's cracking up.
Definitely.
Like, you know what I mean? This is so funny.
Mind
right,
games. Yeah. Dude.
But let's get some Yankee and Met victories
Absolutely.
today. I'm definitely feeling that for sure.
Yeah.
But we also know that we need a victory for the New York Rangers. Let's go to the world of the National Hockey League.
Here's Matthews. Scores! Hat-trick goal!
My goodness, this is a great shot. Big hit on the far side by McCarr. He flattens Jordan's skull. Oh, my goodness. Next to come right back. Terrified and robbed by Shesterkin. That's brilliant from Igor Shesterkin. It's a breakaway to win it in overtime. McDavid scores the winner in overtime.
All right. So obviously Rangers Devils game 5 tonight in New Jersey. But before we talk about that, just wanted to mention Panthers do edge out the Bruins to keep that series alive, 4-3. Matthew Tkachuk, the game winner. So we will get.
Did you see that game winner, by the way?
I think I saw it quickly. Yeah.
Allmark came out to play the puck, totally fumbled it, wasn't back in the net in time, and dude, Panthers.
Do you imagine though they win the next 2 games and that changes the whole thing, whole course of history, Tony?
That's probably not gonna happen. The whole course of history.
I mean, the Panthers in a game 6 to keep their season alive at home. No.
Even if they do win that game, they're not winning game 7 back at TD.
But kind of interesting.
Well, it is interesting. Well, I talked about yesterday too how the Panthers have been playing the Bruins so physical. And honestly, I think last night was kind of the first time you really saw the Bruins get a little frustrated about it. But I think they're going to reset, keep their cool. They kept their cool for the first 4 games, so I'm not that worried about it. Honestly,
not worried yet.
No, they shouldn't be. I'm not. Neither should you.
What about the Kraken? Seizing
very worried
3-2
there.
lead, and game 6 will be in Seattle.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, I'm worried for Colorado. Past 2 games, they've come out a little flat-footed, and they end up, with no goals in the first period, while Seattle kind of, gets a little bit of an edge by winning the first period. And they take that momentum into the second, into the third. It's a score again. The game was scored into the first period. Avalanche were able to score in the second, but the Kraken kind of came back, scored 2, scored 1 in the third. And it seemed like the Avalanche did not really have an answer for them. And you just look at the way, the game went. I mean, pretty even all around, honestly. 28-29 shots. Seattle led that. 39-41 hits. Avs led that. Avs winning most of the faceoffs. Both team 0 for 2 in the power play. You would also expect a team like Colorado to have a better, chances at the power play. But, at a even keeled game, you give an opportunity to the Kraken to kind of sneak back and win this game by 1. So again, the Kraken, just by getting off to a little bit of a better start, I mean, that gave them the edge. So Avs got to come back and just play the first period hard.
Are you worried that you Eddie mushed it after lauding Nathan McKinnon yesterday?
No, he had a goal last night.
He didn't win though. Sure, he'd give up the goal for a victory, no?
Yeah, probably. But still, I mean, he had a good showcase last night. Continue to probably have a good series against the Kraken, and maybe someone else wants to step up too.
But so that will be interesting to see if they could stay alive. I guess the game I'm imagining is tomorrow there between the Kraken and the Avalanche. But these powerhouse teams here kind of they're definitely in question. So yeah, that one will be 10 o'clock TNT tomorrow night. But we know this is the moment we've been waiting for. Rangers, Devils. We've had a few days here to kind of reset, refocus. And we're back at the Prudential Center, a place where we won the first 2 games of this series. On the heels of a really disappointing effort on Monday. We saw it together firsthand. Ungats besides the Vinny Trocheck goal, Tony. What is the key here? Game 5 really seems like a pivotal game in this series. How did the Rangers bounce back, from those disappointing efforts in game 3 and 4?
If I probably wanted to fix one thing, it'd probably be the power play, honestly.
Get Mika back on it?
Yeah. Mika's been so quiet too this series.
Why'd they take him off the power play, though?
I don't know why. Patrick Kane.
I think Mika's a better player.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I definitely would take Kane off again, especially with the way he's been playing the past 2 games.
Boomer's worried about his hip.
I don't think he's injured or anything. I don't know, dude. He's just,
he said Mika might be injured too.
Get out of town, dude. Boomer's an idiot.
Everybody's
dude.
Injured.
But again, I don't know. You look at this team and, you look how good the power play was, how good their special teams were, start of this series. It seemed like the Rangers, when their power play isn't firing, it seems like their 5-on-5 play kind of suffers too. So, I just think, first period, just come out really heavy. We've seen them come out flat-footed the past 2 games. You're in the Prudential Center. Your back is against the wall. This is a must-win game here. It really is. And as like any other game really in this series. But, just come out hard, skate quick, move the puck. Again, I think you see a lot too of these, when the Rangers were struggling through the neutral zone to get past the Devils here, they're trying to make like these long fucking passes up the ice, which you see sometimes be successful. Like Igor does it really well, actually, out of the net. But keep your passes simple, short, quick passes, get to the edge, find some space at the wing position, and then set up your offense. There's no need to do some crazy passes, lose the puck in neutral zone, have stupid turnovers. But again, getting back to the power play, they just come out, they skate hard, draw a penalty within the first 5 minutes of the power play of the first period, get a power play goal, feel good. Again, like power play, it's just all puck movement. There's going to be someone on the ice who is open. It's just a matter of finding that guy at the right time, a good one-timer. You've seen in the past couple of games, Panarin has had good opportunities at one-timers, but he just either fans on it or the puck goes wide of the net. He kind of needs to step up here because without Zibanejad on power play 1 here, he's got to be your goal scorer, I think. I think yesterday at practice, I want to say the power play unit was, I think it was Panarin at one wing, Kane at the other, Kreider in front of the net, and then Fox and I think Schneider at the points here. So I think that's more than enough offense and tools you can use to find the back of the net. They just have to freaking do it, dude. And I just think if they start the game off like that, if they just skate hard, draw a penalty, get a power play goal, everything else will start falling into place. The Devils will be on their heels, and it'll look a lot more like the first 2 games of the series.
But what's the one thing that's interesting? The first 2 games of those series, Vanacek was in net. So is there, I know obviously what you're saying, what you just said, that would lead to goal scoring, but just given the big body, the big presence, is there anything they need to do in terms of like altering their shot angle? It just seems like there was like barely anything that even had a chance to go in just based on the amount of space that he covers at the front of the net.
Yeah, I would say, one thing, and they talked about it on the broadcast too, Schmidt gives up a lot of rebounds. He doesn't control the puck very well after blocking shots, after saving shots. We just need more bodies in front of the net, really. And you saw that with Trocheck's goal. It was off a rebound. He was right there, just put it in. So, I just think, especially the Devils have made their adjustments. They're playing good defense. So, yeah, like we've seen the Rangers do during the regular season, resort to perimeter shots, but just make sure you have a body, whether it's Hedl, Kreider, Trocheck, Tyler Mott, whoever in front of the net, to be there for rebounds, and then have bodies crash the net. I think it was 3 games ago. Maybe it was I think Tarasenko's goal.
Mhm.
There was just bodies crashing the net one after the other, opportunity in quick, fast succession. And Tarasenko finds the back of the net because he was the third guy in, getting the puck and shooting it. That's what you need to do. I just feel like they're playing a little bit too tentative, and they're not challenging this youthful goaltender.
Kreider at his usual post, just hanging out with the stick.
Business as usual. It's got to be something like that. And again, but like that's what you're going for. It's going to take some luck. It's going to take certainly more skill. But if that's how you get a goal, that's how you get a goal.
What do you think about Prefers Burner saying that Chachuk is actually pronounced Kochuk or Kachuk, whatever?
It is Kachuk.
Kachuk.
Yeah, I don't know who Robert Nelson is though.
Prefers Burner.
The name kind of sounds familiar.
Maybe we were talking about Jeff Nelson on the Yankee broadcast. I'm just saying we were just talking about.
No, it's very true. Michael, by the way, comes in here. We'll talk NBA in a little bit. I hope Mike calls in because I'm really excited to hear what he has to say about this. Stephen A. Smith, biggest Knicks fake fan alive, he says. I don't know what Stephen A. said about the Knicks. I would imagine maybe he's hopping on the Knick train.
Yeah, he's very hot and cold, but also I would say maybe Spike Lee's up there, Michael, too.
Yeah.
For fake fans.
And then other than that, let's go Knicks. Love this show. Always gets me hyped for sports. Michael says next Brodeur.
In regard to Schmidt.
Which I think is a little early to call here. And again, he hasn't really been challenged at all, honestly. Right. And you know what, too, dude? If I'm the Rangers, listen, we're playing a Devils team. I never wish to hurt anyone, but let's just fucking lay some bodies, dude. Yeah. Like, honestly, like, you had, I think Heischer, like, skated into Igor last game, and it was like, dude, how do you not just fucking fight him immediately?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't do that, dude. So, like, these are, it's the Devils. It's a group of very young kids. They have some veterans. They have skilled players, no doubt. I'm not saying they're not going to step up and play physical as well, but let's start bogging them down with hits, dude. Just absolutely murder them. Jay Bird says, Mike, calling someone a fake fan is like a pot calling the kettle black. Wow, dude.
Michael sobbing in the corner.
Jay Bird coming in hot. Wow.
Love it, Jay. Love it. But as we kind of take a look at this game, Tony, what is your prediction in terms of, just how it goes, what score it is? Is it high scoring? Is it low scoring? I mean, what do you see happening here?
I still think it's going to be low scoring. I think it's going to end up 4-3 in favor of the Rangers here. And I think it's going to be Igor coming up big late in the third period to keep it a 4-3 game. But I think, like I said, I thoroughly believe it's going to start first period, power play goal by Chris Kreider will start off the scoring. And you're looking at maybe, 2 more goals in the second here by the Rangers to kind of, expand that lead, and then just really tough defensively physical third period. Michael kind of trying to clap back here, by the way. Jay's opinion here is like Joe Biden at the podium. Nobody listens.
Do you have the very good there?
I could get that for you, dude.
Very good there,
dude.
There's nothing. There's nothing that he knows.
We listen to Jay Bird, Michael.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's what did I say? 4-3?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, then third period. Honestly, I'm looking at a Jimmy Vesey goal.
Wow.
I've been talking about him a lot. He had some great opportunities even last game. He skates really well. The fourth line skates so well. Goudreau's got some grit. Mott is quick, and VC is smart. I think, again, I think he's gonna find the back of the net tonight.
Let's go.
I'm telling you.
I do agree with the Ranger win, but I actually think we get, and Michael's talking about Schmid being the next Brodeur. How about Shesterkin being the next Brodeur? We saw him step up huge last year in the playoffs. I want to say he pitches the shutout here. Rangers offense gets going early. 3 in the first, 5 overall. Another 2-goal game for Kreider. And I want to say Zibanejad will find the back of the net twice as well, topped off by a Kako, which Jay is still marveled at his name.
So funny.
But a 5-0 Ranger victory, and that's when we get the whole Michael corner sobbing scenario. And a couple more from Michael here.
Yes, he says, Brian liked that one. I don't care what you say, Tony. And he says you and Jay can go cuddle with Joey Biden.
Is my camera frozen?
Oh yeah, it may have died, dude.
But I'm surprised no blinking.
I
No
know
blinking
normally
action.
it gives you a little something, dude. It must have died. But that's okay. We got it.
Oh, here. Oh. How did we get back up so quickly?
I switched the cameras. I switched the to
That
camera
was pretty
one.
quick. Yeah.
I'm on top of the game here. I'm not Michael producing, you know.
But other than that, a couple other games here tonight. You have Lightning Maple Leafs. Lightning on the brink here in Toronto, down 3-1. Just so surprising the way this series started off, and for the Lightning to lose, 3 in a row, including 2 at home. I just never saw that coming in a million years. Point played through the injury last game, but unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. What do you think here, Tony? Are the Lightning going to hang on, or the Maple Leafs for the first time in like 20 years going to the second round of the playoffs?
That's tough, dude. I mean, I had the Leafs winning this series, but I think the Lightning can hang on for another game, to be honest. Again, a team like the Lightning has been in a position like this before, has come back in a position like this. They know what to do. They know how to do it. Yes, it's going to be hard to stop the Leafs, but I just think, like you said, the first time in a long time, the Leafs will be making it past the first round. So I think that kind of pressure will be in the back of their heads. And I think the Lightning kind of take advantage of being the more veteran team, being here before, knowing what it's like. Give me the Lightning in a close one, 3-2.
And how about the Maple Leafs, one of the most valuable franchises in the NHL, taking advantage here? Tickets as low as $338. You look at that, Rangers Devils is 140, and Jets Golden Knights. Talk about a surprise, Vegas. I guess I don't know. The fans, maybe the interest is waning, maybe a little bit. Only $49 for the lowest ticket there.
Are you kidding
T-Mobile?
me? Whoa.
I don't know if it's just because it's the Jets or it's a 3-1 series.
I mean, it's a playoff series, for God's sakes.
We'll have to look at attendance, because I'm just curious how they've performed. I know it's been you pull up NHL team attendance, and while you're doing that, I'm looking at this, and I actually think for once the Maple Leafs just close them out. The Lightning are shot. It's just been so much hockey. Over the last couple of years. And I think this is kind of the kiss of death. And I could see Marner and Bunting and Matthews all putting up goals here. I think this actually gets ugly. Vasilevsky pulled for Elliott midway through the second.
Dude. Your boy.
Maple Leafs onto the second round. I'm going to say 7-1 over the Lightning. Were you able to find anything on the attendance?
Yeah, so it's like that. Golden Knights coming in at about 12th around the league, averaging 18,000.
12th, okay, but
I don't know
St.
what their capacity
Louis,
is.
Dallas, Boston. Okay, and you said 12,000?
18.
Oh, sorry, 18. All right, so T-Mobile. You're probably gonna try to get it before me.
They can get 20,000.
But ice hockey 17.5, so they're actually selling out every game.
Wow.
But I don't know. I just what do you think it is, honestly? Do you think it's the combination of the Jets and the fact that they're up 3-1 for why the tickets are so low?
I don't know. I mean, what are there seats that are bad though? Like obstructed view, you think, or something? That's why.
But I'm just saying the fact that you got 338 in Toronto. Those could be bad seats, but yeah, 49. I mean, that's a pretty big disparity.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. Maybe Vegas is just a team of the people.
And I don't know. Maybe if they face, like, if Colorado rallies, if they get matched up with them in the second round, maybe that would be a bigger draw.
I guess, but I mean, it's still like this is an elimination game. Like Vegas at home, winning, going on to the next round. This is a big game for them.
And last year they didn't make the playoffs.
I don't remember.
I almost want to say no.
I want to say they got knocked out in the first round. Those nights. Wow. Champs or chumps, dude. Made the playoffs 5 times in 6 seasons.
So
are you kidding me? What? Okay, here we go. 2022 missed playoffs.
Oh, missed playoffs. Yep. I knew
pending in playoffs.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see tonight. I think they're gonna wrap up business here. I told you all year that Winnipeg, just not that good, and it was a good story, but I do think the Golden Knights will kind of wrap this up here. I want to say 5-0. Eichel hat trick.
Wow.
Kind of really getting comfortable because I know he missed some time, but 27 goals. I was thinking him of more of a 40 goal scorer. So I thought that was a little light on the part of Jack Eichel.
Yeah. Well, so far, 3 goals and an
4 games,
assist
so
in 4 games.
That's what they pay him for, right?
Yeah, that's totally right.
Do you think they wrap it up tonight?
I do. I mean, they've been surprisingly dominant in the series, so certainly give me the Knights.
All right. So
for tickets as low as that, I'd be so happy to be there.
Oh, I know.
Speaking of which, Michael does say maybe the cheaper the ticket, the better the fan ? I don't really know what that means.
Yeah, I don't.
But Michael does say, Tony did say that's why the Garden sucked for the Rangers, and that is why. I mean, obviously the typical blue collar fan isn't going to these games that are $500 a ticket. So
yeah, but the only thing is, and you give them something to cheer about. It's going to be loud.
Oh
the problem was you're not scoring. I mean, what do you want them to do?
But I still think it's a give and take. I mean, when your team is down, you got to rally them a little bit. And when you're at the Garden, it starts rocking, and the players feel it, you feel it. Like it brings them up, dude.
But also, I mean, I just think still. The last couple of games, the amount of good looks, good opportunities, that's what gets fans excited. Wasn't there. And I know, it's the same thing with baseball where you're waiting to score runs. Like you get kind of down and out when time goes by and nothing.
Impatient,
bad possessions
going on, dude.
You want some good quality possessions. But let's go Rangers. Let's take control of this series. So excited to watch that later. Let's go now to the world of the National Basketball Association.
The Bulls go! LeBron James at the buzzer! He banks in the three! And the Lakers win the game!
All right. So, unfortunately, Lakers not winning the game last night, losing 116-99 in a crazy game. And I was actually watching it at the it was the second day open of the Puerto Vallarta in Stanford. So actually right next to the Comedy Club, which I know Michael and Renee were at there. So right across the way there. Have to say was thoroughly impressed. Huge bar area. Food was great. Just a big space, something that was vacant for a while. I want to say 6-7 years. I guess a Rascal Flats bar used to be there. So we were watching the game, and the Lakers really had a shot. I mean, they were down 17 early, but then they got it to a 1-point game early part of the third quarter. But then just end up completely blowing it, losing by 17. They were down like 26 at one point. So you had an opportunity to close it out on the road.
What happened?
Course, well, I mean, you battled back, but then once you were there, you didn't keep up that level of play.
So the Lakers blew it, you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, you get that close, and then you just you don't do anything. And then once again, I just like it's coming from me. You know how many when we've played basketball, how many 3-pointers I shoot, but the consistent jacking, I just feel like it's so ridiculous. 10 of 39. You're telling me that, you take a couple of those 3-point attempts away, you go for more high percentage shots, and that's not going to make a difference. I think it makes a huge difference. You look at the performers here. I mean, Davis had 31 and 19. He's been great this postseason. LeBron was an off game. 5 of 17 from the floor. You don't usually see him that inefficient. Had 10 rebounds, 5 assists, but 1 of 9 from 3-point range. So again, the 3-pointers, free throws are okay. 15 to 20, 75%. You look at the Grizzlies, they made their 3-pointers after struggling to do so in the previous game. 14 of 40, that's 35%. Bane had 33 points, 10 rebounds. Morant, 31 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. And they shot 82.4% from the free throw line. So that makes the difference. Dylan Brooks, a nice 3 of 15 from the floor, 8 points. So
what a loser,
exactly backing up the talk there. I think the Lakers are going to be fine. I think they're going to take care of business at home. It just, you had an opportunity there. You didn't take advantage of it. So, of course, whenever that happens, it's going to be disappointing. But they'll, get a chance for a vengeance here tomorrow, 10:30 start time there. So a late one there on a Friday night, but we'll look to advance to the second round. We'll have to see, maybe facing the Golden State Warriors, who, won last night as well, finally solving that road bugaboo that they've had. We saw them lose the first 2 games of this series in Sacramento, but they win last night, 123-116. Steph Curry, 31 points, 8 assists. And just a solid game for the Warriors. I have to give them credit. I thought they had no shot, that 11-30 road record in the regular season. I mean, how could you have confidence in them in a road situation? But, everybody stepped up. Clay, 25 points, 5 3-pointers. And you also got 20 out of Andrew Wiggins. They've welcomed his return to the lineup and really just did a good job. They were down by 3 after the first quarter, but then outscored Sacramento by a combined 12 points second in the third quarter. So that kind of set the tone for a 123-116 win. De'Aaron Fox, maybe the finger injury affecting him, 24 points, but 9 of 25 from the floor. So 16 missed shots, 3 of 10 from 3-point range, 9 assists. So we'll see if that'll continue to hamper him in game 6 as Sacramento is going to look to stay alive. So definitely a surprise. I know Michael's cheesing somewhere. We know how much he respects Golden State and said I was wrong about the Kings winning.
Sacramento Queens, he said yesterday.
But speaking of which, with Michael, we know he's cheesing about the Knicks advancing to the second round of the NBA playoffs for the first time since 2013. So it's been a long, long time. Jason Kidd was a player on that team. But with a 106-95 victory over the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I have to say, thoroughly impressed that they won this in 5. I mean, did I expect them to win the series? Yes, but I didn't think that it would be this easy. I thought we were talking 6 or 7 games. I know Renee thought the same thing as well. And you look at this one.
Stand by, Brian.
RJ Barrett, a nice 21 points. So he stepped up. Brunson, 8 of 22, but did have 23 points. And how about Mitchell Robinson, 18 rebounds to go along with 13 points as Mr. Nick himself is on the phone. What is the level of excitement, Michael?
Michael, can you hear us? Michael?
Phone volume up.
Phone volume's up. Bluetooth is up.
Speaker?
Mike?
Can you hear me?
Hello? Yeah, can you hear us?
Brian, talk.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because I'm on the speaker now.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't working with the roadcaster. I want to try again here. Maybe, I don't know who knows. Maybe Renee's all on the Bluetooth. She's disconnected. She says, yeah, I'm paired. Michael, no. Oh, he hung up.
I mean, wait, the sound quality of the speaker tight or no?
Again, I don't know why it's not. Roadcaster 2 connected. Roadcaster 2 Pro. Bang. No, still nothing. We got to go speaker. All right, Michael, you're on speaker.
All right. Well, first of all, I just want to put down live on air all these accusations, false accusations, that I'm not a true fan. You ring up my history. Go look back at my life. Okay? You're going to see Yankees, Jets at the main front. And then in 2010, I went from the Chicago Bulls to the New York Knicks, and I haven't changed. I'm a diehard fan to who I'm for, and that's that. Now, Brian, as for the Knicks, I told you I need them to make it past the second round. That's it. And then I'll start getting super excited. I'm really happy with Jalen Brunson. I said it all year. I made a mistake on his signing. It might be the best offseason signing in Knicks history. And I think you owe RJ an apology, Brian.
Before we get to that, I agree with you about Brunson. How much of the game were you able to catch last night?
Say it again, Brian.
How much of the game were you able to catch last night?
Oh, I watched a good amount.
All right. Good to get you out there.
But I just think we owe RJ an apology because, like I said, and people have said it all year, he plays the same. Him and Julius basically play the same position, and you can see Julius has struggled in the playoffs. They're gonna have to figure that out in the future. I'm telling you right now, that's a problem. But luckily, everybody's a good teammate on the Knicks, so it's not gonna affect chemistry. But man, Mitchell Robinson, dude, huh?
Yeah, no, I always liked him, a max effort guy. Anytime you're going to grab 18 rebounds, that's going to make a big difference. And RJ, I think, had a nice series. Definitely, didn't start out great, but finished strong the last couple of games. But I do think it comes down to what's he going to do in round two. Because if he goes back to the ways of really struggling efficiency wise, then all is kind of lost and gone from round one. So I think this is a huge series for him to kind of justify what type of player he is.
And I love Jimmy Butler, so honestly, it's tough for me this series. Obviously, I'm going Knicks, but I really do think, like, if I was a professional picker, I would pick the Heat. I just think there's something going on with them. Jimmy Butler, I watched an interview where he's not motivated by anything other than winning a championship. He doesn't care about anything else. He doesn't play the game for anything else. He went to JUCO college. He never was a McDonald's High School All-American. He didn't, low draft. He had to work for everything. So I love that. I love him, and I'm happy for the Knicks, but I think it's the Heat's time in the second round.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable. He had, I think, 55 the other night, 42 yesterday. And the fact, too, that, the Bucks on the brink of elimination and Giannis having 38 and 20 had a 16-point lead, but the Heat force overtime and win 128-126. It really is unbelievable the turnaround they've been able to have after looking so poor in that first playing game.
Coaching job over Mike, whatever.
Budenholzer, who's never really, other than the championship, obviously, has struggled in the postseason.
Spoelstra?
No, Budenholzer.
Yeah, no, he's right.
So that's going to be a fun series, though.
Oh, it's going to be a classic 90s series. I mean, like, just straight up defense. And I feel bad for De'Aaron Fox. I heard you talking about him earlier, man. Like, that dude's a dog. He reminds me, obviously, of John Wall, both Kentucky guys. Both came in with a lot of hype and all that. But I like him because he's humble. He seems like a humble player. So tough for him. Tough for the Kings, man, in that series, because it looks like Golden State's going to win that now. And I'm honestly, did you hear me talk about LeBron yesterday or 2 days ago? Was it?
Just that he's going to be the oldest player in the league next year.
I was asked Tony. I gave credit when Dylan Brooks the night.
Oh right, then he D'd him up. Yeah.
What a rat, dude! What a rat Dylan Brooks is.
Yeah, he really ruined his career. I feel like. I mean, obviously he's still going to play, whatever. But I think the Grizzlies want to get rid of him, and there's definitely just a negative connotation with his name. Tough for the Lakers though, not to win yesterday, but I think easily they're going to take care of business tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah. I thought they won, honestly. I saw highlights, and the way the highlights looked like they won.
Yeah, just, kind of fell apart for them mid to late in the third quarter. One thing I just wanted to ask you before we wrap it up, what was the deal with Stephen A? I didn't see. What did he say about the Knicks?
Dude, I mean, all right, so Stephen A has hated on Obi, hated on Julius, hated on RJ, hated on everything the Knicks have done. Like, go run back all the tapes. I'm done with the Knicks. It's so dramatic. I'm done with them, right? All the time. And now they win this first round, and he's all – go look at his TikTok. Go look at it.
Is he doing the Stephen A? Think he'll win a championship, like with his head bobbing?
Just the chiefness of him.
Yeah.
Like he's been diehard, never faltered, always supported. Like, that's how he's acting. And it's just such a – I just can't stand the acting,
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's up there with Spike for the two biggest fake fans.
Yeah, Spike's a joke, man. I can't believe that.
He just literally goes like to get photographed at the game. That's the only reason he's there, and to take photographs of Steph Curry.
Yeah, stay relevant.
Yeah, so interesting stuff there.
Anthony Edwards, our boy, could face criminal charges.
Yeah, I just read the article. Yeah, he threw a chair at two female employees after the game 5 loss against the Denver Nuggets.
I mean, it's what happened. You should see the video. He basically runs out of to the tunnel, grabs a chair, spins around with it out of frustration, and it nicks them. It doesn't he doesn't throw it at them like a baseball player. But the team issued a statement saying they're telling them that they definitely should press charges. It's like, that's kind of intense. Like, why don't you just?
Oh wow!
I would just be like, yo, Anthony, here, how much were you willing to pay?
Anthony.
Yeah. What a great name, huh, Anthony?
Love that name.
Yeah. You know what I just saw? I was reading this.
Brian doesn't like the name.
On Sports Edge. So before Rodgers went to the Jets, the Packers converted his $58.3 million of his option into a salary for the 2024 season. So he's scheduled to earn $1.16 million next year, and then $107.55 million in 2024. But obviously, I guess they're saying they're going to restructure it. But how ridiculous is that?
That is outrageous. 1 year making over 100 million.
Yeah. But who like between you two, who has more confidence in Jets, Rodgers next year? I'm guessing Michael, or no? You're kind of skeptical, Tony? Or?
Yeah, I think Michael has more confidence.
Super Bowl.
Like just without a question.
Super Bowl.
Without a question,
You
though?
know it, Barnes. We all know it. It's time. He's wearing number 8, Broadway 8. Like, come on. It's beautiful.
And I don't know if you were with us earlier, but do you agree with me? Go wide receiver in round 1, or would you rather see him go offensive lineman like Tony's suggesting?
I don't know. I think you go with what is best, I feel like, and
Best available.
Yeah, I don't know. We're pretty stacked, I feel like, so you can't really make a mistake. But did you listen to his presser yesterday?
I caught bits and pieces. Everyone was lauding what a good job he did.
Oh, dude, it's funny. If you were wondering if it was like Brett Favre, it's totally not.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be here for 2 to 3 years, dude, barring no injury.
I think 2 years is a guarantee. And I think, too, change the scenery, re-energizes him. And we saw when he was jacked up that the Packers drafted Jordan Love, he went out and won an MVP. So I'm expecting nothing less this season.
He's going to be MVP. There's no doubt.
Dude. But you know what's crazy? You think about what we've had to deal with. Even if he's not 100% of what he's been, that's going to seem a million times better than anything we've had in the past 30 years.
I was just going to say, it's going to make, for the first time, like, entering a season, you have confidence, and it's going to be exciting.
It's still, like, I don't think it's going to sink in until he takes that first snap of the season, honestly.
I might get a jersey, honestly.
Tony, you going to get one?
No.
Oh man. What do you?
He knows me too well.
But before we sign off with Michael, I just want to hear, Tony, your prediction. He's saying Super Bowl. I'm saying Super Bowl. Where are you with the Jets next year?
Oh, that's so tough, dude. I mean, I
his heart's saying Super Bowl, but his mind's saying
you just want to be negative about it. You can't help it. It's
no. It's not that I want to be negative. It's just that I could imagine, I could see him like first 4 games of the season not doing well, gets absolutely slaughtered in the New York media, and then he goes, "Fuck this! Like, this is stupid." And then he goes on to, I don't know, whatever girl he's dating at the time, dark room, guitar playing at the waterfall, like doesn't give a shit about football anymore. So I don't know. I think it's kind of tough, but I'll say if he starts off well, I mean, I can see him go to the Super Bowl. Absolutely, yes.
Wow. All right. You heard it here first. Were you surprised by that answer, Michael? Is Michael gone?
I can't hear him.
Michael's still on the phone. You can't hear me? I'm right here.
Not you. I heard you.
Oh, he said, do you agree with
No, are you surprised that Tony's like saying that he could
surprised.
see a Super Bowl?
No, he's slowly becoming a Jets fan.
You could see it on his face. He's got that little smirk going.
Speaking of Jets, we have Jay Bird commenting, Michael's best friend, Super Bowl baby. He says, I'm going. Stay positive, Tony.
Let's go, Jay. We're all going. That's for sure.
Jay's been saying for years he's getting the Jets tattoo.
Yeah, we have to.
Anything you?
I love you guys. Good show.
All right, I'll see you in 2 minutes. Bye.
And I would imagine, Tony, tomorrow for the Matthew Friday tradition, we'll actually get Michael on camera tomorrow, or no?
I don't know, man.
I feel like he usually is here for that, though.
Yeah, I think it could be hit or miss. I want to say yes.
Yeah.
My heart says yes. So,
but yeah, that's something
Jay Bird
we
said that's
are
happening, Tony.
looking forward to tomorrow. But other than that, Tony, anything else on the way out here?
No, dude. I kind of forgot that today's Thursday. I kind of thought it was Friday, and I was like getting ready to be like, oh, screen time's coming up. But
Wow,
it feels like Friday.
Yeah, I know
today,
what you
doesn't
mean.
it?
Well, especially me. I'm all messed up. Baltimore. All
Yeah,
that.
you're all messed up.
On camera tomorrow with Matthew.
I'll be there on camera tomorrow with Matthew.
Like I thought.
Jay Bird says, I'm in studio tomorrow too.
Wow. So the full crew in the house.
Literally.
Manny tomorrow?
Yeah, Manny's in for screen time. So he'll
There
be
you
here
go.
Friday.
There you go.
Bets.
Full crew. Full crew. Renee?
Whole crew.
On camera. No, you occasionally pop in to say something. Yeah, depending on the subject matter. But I have to say, Tony, what a great show. Good to be back in studio after being away the last 2 days. We'll have a great show coming up for you tomorrow. Obviously, recap the baseball, talk about the Rangers. Hopefully, we are recapping a Ranger victory. And one thing that actually slipped my mind before we do the closeout here, just wanted to give everybody an update. Mexico Open at Vidanta, a course that I think we all, hope to play one of these days. Steven Yeager, Tony.
Wow.
5 under through 10, started on the back. And his trail. Oh, actually, we now have, after a couple birdies, he's joined at the top by Taylor Pendrith and Mark Hubbard, both at 5 under par. And Eric Cole, who almost won there with Chris Kirk at the Honda Classic, the journeyman 3 under through 9. So a couple unknowns there at the top. Just wanted to see if we had anything on Rahm. Seems like he still is struggling a little bit here. Even through 8, Gary Woodland even through 7. So very early on here. Full leaderboard update and analysis tomorrow, as well as the NFL draft. So everybody enjoy that tonight. But thank you for tuning in and continuing to comment, like, and subscribe. Checking out all the archives on the YouTube page. Tony, Michael, Renee in costume, as well as the merch. Spring is in the air, downtimetv.com. We want everybody to enjoy the day, enjoy the games. Let's go Yankees and Rangers.
Go Rangers!
Let's go Mets too. And we will see you mañana.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do.